Good morning, good morning, good morning, everybody. Thank you for sticking around a few extra minutes for some technical difficulties to clear up. Welcome to the 615 Preps Scoreboard, powered by Fifth Year Technology Solutions. Chris Brooks, Scott Burton, Camry with you this morning. Guys, good morning. First off, hopefully y'all got some sleep and some coffee.
Definitely got sleep. Definitely got coffee. This time painted desert mug.
There's two
Yeah,
things.
not really a coffee person for me, but definitely got enough sleep. I'm ready to go this Saturday morning.
And we've got a lot to go over, and I do mean a lot because in addition to these scoreboards, we're going to go over these region standings with 1 week left in the regular season. We'll do that on the back end of the scoreboard, so stick around a little extra for that. We've got a lot of scores to get into, so let's just get right to it. Into those scores from Thursday night, as our scoreboard finally pulls up, we had Smyrna over McGavock 41-21, and the Bulldogs lock up the number 2 seed in 668 next week if they beat Overton. McGavock is looking at 4th place, but they'll have to beat Laverne to do it in week number 11. And why don't we fire up some highlights too? Over on the west side of Nashville, at Ensworth, it was Brentwood Academy at Ensworth. George Laster with a field goal to give Brentwood Academy a 3-0 lead. Martez Cooksey, this is the third quarter. Ensworth gets in from a yard out with Cooksey's touchdown. It's 7-3, all the way to the final minute of the fourth quarter. EA needing a first down. George McIntyre finds a way to keep this drive alive. Look at that play to get a first down and keep the sticks moving. 21 seconds to go. McIntyre rolling right, spins out of a tackle, and finds Griffin Kropp in the end zone. And Brentwood Academy comes from behind in the final minute to win an exciting one, 10-7. Unfortunately, we don't have those interviews due to some technical difficulties, but a big win for BA over Ensworth in that one.
Yeah, the Eagles held Ensworth to their lowest scoring total of the season. Big defensive effort.
Yes, I was really surprised. I was able to watch most of the second half on the Brentwood Academy's YouTube channel as they streamed the games. And Deuce Scott did get over 20 carries, Chris, I'm pretty sure. But they did a very good job of shutting him down. And at the end of the day, George McIntyre put together one drive at the end of the game. Couple great plays, getting out of sacks. One play, he's actually being sacked and throws the ball on a fourth down play, picks it up. And then, of course, that touchdown pass was right on the money in the corner of the end zone to win it.
Yeah, we look at that play that was the game-winning touchdown, but go back to the fourth down play, because if they don't make that play, that game's over. They lose at that point because just the poise that he showed as a sophomore, there's a reason he is one of the top quarterback recruits in the country for the class of 25. And Brentwood Academy is going to really like him for the next couple of years. He's really coming into his own.
Yeah, that team has been lucky to have Deuce Scott in that running game. I would look for them to maybe change things up offensively in the coming years, and McIntyre will definitely be the lead candidate on changing that up.
Yeah.
Well, Chris, and unfortunately we don't have the interview, but I know that when you talk to the coaching staff and it was about the leadership that McIntyre is showing late in the season that has really been making the difference.
Yeah, it really was. And you look at that final drive, it's just the amount of poise and determination that he had. I mean, from a sophomore, no less, he's really growing fast in that role. And it's a big thing for BA, and especially for this playoff run, because they have eyes at a state championship now. They're not waiting the next year. I mean, they're going to be the number 1 seed more than likely out of that region. They have eyes on getting to Chattanooga and playing for a title. On the Friday scores, FRA wins big over BGA 42-7 as the Panthers lock up the number 2 seed in their region with that win as they improve to 8-1 on the season. They'll get good pasture in their regular season finale next week. BGA falls to 1-8. Beach dominant over Brentwood, 27-6, the final in this one, and the Buccaneers 8-1. We talked about them earlier this week on the 615 Preps on the Miss Day 48. Sorry, that what did Beach have to do to be ranked? Well, this is it.
Oh yeah, and the amazing thing is that they hung 325 rushing yards on that Bruin defense. Have been playing lights out all year long. It's just amazing. They had two players, JP Courtney and Darius Johnson, go over 100 yards in this game.
Yeah, they really flex their muscle, guys. You know, we've said it about probably 25 different teams, but this team has been flying under the radar. There's no more flying under the radar. They're going to be in the top 10 as they should be. This is a team that, you know, come playoff time, if everything goes as it looks, Cane Ridge is going to have their handful at some point in the playoffs for this Buccaneer team.
Yeah, that's one when we start looking at those brackets, you know, you can pencil those two teams in the quarterfinals if you want to, and you would have a good reason for doing so. Clarksville 40-6 winners at Maplewood in a non-region game for the Wildcats. They're now 6-3 as they get a big region contest next week to close the regular season out with Gallatin. Winner of that one gets number 2 seed in that region.
And that's huge. You know, 2 seed home at playoffs, 3 seed on the road.
Good Pasture knocks off DeKalb County 24-17 in a non-region game for the Cougars. They're 6-3. As we mentioned, they'll go to FRA next week. DeKalb County has Stone Memorial in their regular season finale, and a lot rides on that game, as we'll talk about in just a little while. Cane Ridge 41-0 winners over Dixon County. The Ravens have already locked up the region title. They've got an 8-1 mark going into week 11, and we'll have Maplewood at home next week. Dixon County falls to 1-8, and they'll travel to Antioch. Joe Burns now 3-6 after winning 38-14 over Easel Harding. And the Red Devils get a playoff tune-up at Sycamore next week. Easel Harding's season is over with a 3-7 record. Fairview will head into that week 11 game with Waverly after a 39-3 win at Sycamore. The Yellow Jackets now 7-2. Sycamore improving drops to 3-6 with that loss. The War Eagles are going to be the number 4 seed in the postseason after that game with Joe Burns next week. Creekwood all over Glencliff 49-6. The Redhawks now 6-3. When Glencliff falling to 0-9. DCA has a big game next week with Nashville Christian. Do they go into it 38-7 winners over Grace Christian? Wildcats now 6-3. Grace Christian falling to 5-4 and now fighting for their playoff lives. Scott?
And that's what I was going to say is this loss not only sets up DCA's region championship next week, but Grace Christian is now in a must-win against Columbia Academy next week for the playoffs.
Yeah, and just briefly, you know, Grace Christian was in the top 5 there for the first 3 or 4 weeks of the season. This DCA team took those 3 losses early on in the season, but every one of us never lost faith that Coach Wade would get this DCA team turned around, and here we are in week 10, and they're going to be week 11 playing for region title. And guys, they're as hot as anybody. You know, they could make another run to Chattanooga.
Yep. Yeah.
Green Hill 28-14 winners over Station Camp. Let's check those highlights out real quick, Cam. I'll pull those up for you. Over there out.
Yeah, Station Camp goes 3 and out and makes the mistake of kicking to Caleb Carver here, making it look easy up the sideline. Is all I can do to keep up with him, guys. He's one of the fastest kids in our area. There.
No, sometimes when
just got the tail end of that Luke Dickens 56-yard touchdown run. As you see, 20 seconds after that punt return, Caden Mahoney goes in. Green Hill takes a 14-7 lead into halftime. Here it is, first drive of the second half. They're going to throw a swing pass over to Caleb Carver. He splits the safety in the sideline, and nobody's catching him. 21-7 Green Hill early in the third quarter. Station Camp answers back late in the third quarter. Luke Dickens finds the seam, splits the safeties for about a 55-yard touchdown run. Green Hill did a good job most of the night balling him up, but he got loose on this play. Last score of the night, another swing pass out to Caleb Carver coming right at you here from 72 yards away. That will be the last one. The final score is 28-14. Green Hill setting up a region championship game with Mount Juliet next week.
Here with Caleb Carver, 3 touchdowns tonight. Caleb, tell me what you thought when they punted to you there in the first quarter.
When they punted, it was a pretty good punt. I had enough time to react and see what was going on the field. We had it set up to return to the right. Seeing I hit the hole, and I was easy from there. It was gone.
You took 2 screen passes, two little bubble passes to the house there in the second half. What are you looking for as a receiver when that ball's thrown out into the flat to you?
Well, first, the quarterback has to make a good read the outside linebacker on that play. And I wouldn't have scored if my 2 receivers didn't have amazing blocks for me. So really, that's all it is right there. You execute, and we scored.
So, Caleb, you're in the playoffs. Huge game next week for the region championship against Mount Juliet. Any thoughts on next week's matchup?
We'll see. They got a good team. I say it's about even matchup. It's going to be a battle. It's going to be great in a large atmosphere.
All right, Caleb. Thank you. All right, I'm here with Coach Josh Crouch after a 28-14 win over Station Camp. Huge game, securing a playoff spot. What was the flow of the game from your vantage point?
I thought they did a really good job the first half. We had a really tough time offensively moving the ball on them. I thought 4 is a really, really good player. 45 is a good player. I thought they had a really good beat on us at the first, but you get our playmakers the ball. Caleb Carver had a great night tonight, and Cade Mahoney did a great job giving the ball out and being smart with what he was doing and some of the decisions he's making. But not only did them two have a good night, we successfully played unselfish football, and that's turnover-free football. We got behind the sticks a couple times, but that's what we like to see, is that we're taking care of opportunities and giving ourselves a shot late.
Yeah, you mentioned Caleb Carver, 3 touchdowns tonight, a punt return, 2 bubble passes that he took the distance. When you have an athlete like that, there's not really any limitations on what you can do with him.
That's a once in a lifetime kind of kid, and not only like football player wise, great family, great kid. One that we'll definitely miss in the future, but we're going to savor this. Good news is we got 1 more game guaranteed with him, so we're going to take opportunity to love on him. But not only him, but all of our seniors. We bought in this week, took a bye week, healed up a little bit, came out, played a good football game. So I was proud of them. But yeah, 17 special. There's not many like them.
Did Station Camp do anything? Did they throw a little more than what you were expecting?
Yeah, I mean, against Portland, they were about 50-50 run pass. And against Central 2 weeks before, even Central in the game before that, even Gallatin, they were more 75-80% run. I think Luke's dynamic. I think they know, like, if they get the ball with the defense out of the box, I think he does a really good job running the ball. You can see he busted 2 one-play touchdowns on us, and the running back had a big play. But I think they were having so many people get in the box on him, they wanted to kind of spread everybody out, make you defend the whole third, and thought he did a good job to divvy the ball out against Portland. Completed some balls tonight, some big balls. But I thought they, what they were doing, they're trying to get people out of the box, and I felt like we had to adjust we prepped for 2 game plans: smokestack, double tights, and then we prepped for a little bit more spread stuff.
Big matchup next week for region championship. That is if you win, you win the region. If you lose, you all would actually finish 3rd.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about what to expect next week against Mount Juliet.
Man, the opportunity to play against a historic program who's traditionally been in the playoffs, deep run. I would say if you are in Wilson County and surrounding area at 7 o'clock next Friday, you're going to see 2 teams that are going to play really, really good football. You got a lot of really, really good players. They know each other. They love each other. And I think it's going to be a game that's going to be one that will live up to the hype. So, I'm just excited. Second year in the district, 2 years in a row in the playoffs, and an opportunity for 2 years in a row to play for the region championship. We've kind of held our own cards for 2 years in this division, and I'm really excited about the opportunity to compete against those guys.
All right, Coach. Thank you. Good win.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, it's a good win for Green Hill because now that region championship game is set up. For Station Camp, unfortunately, that ends their playoff hopes. They cannot get in now after falling to 1-4 in region play.
Yeah, a tough start to the season for Station Camp. Really put them behind the 8 ball early. They go on the road, lose to White County in a region game early on in the season, and then that loss to Wilson Central really that put them in a must-win situation here in this game. And early on, it was an intense battle back and forth as both teams wanted the game, but ultimately Green Hill and really Caleb Carver kind of separated the difference in this one.
Green Hill 6-3 overall now. Station Camp now 5-4, and the Bison will host Hunters Lane next week. Independence shuts out Page 13-0. The Eagles 5-4 after that non-region win, and they get into that region mess in 7-6A. We'll talk about here in a little while next week. Page 7-2. They've got Lincoln County next week. That is not a guaranteed second place for them in their region. And a little surprising score here, the Page getting shut out.
Yeah, I think you said it right. Not really surprising that Independence won, but definitely surprising that they shut Page out.
All right, let's keep going here real quick. Centennial 34-19 winners over Laverne. The Cougars now 8-1. They'll travel to Brentwood next week for that potential region championship game. Again, more on that later. Laverne now 2-7. They've got a must-win game against McGavick in week number 11. The Wolverines can get in with a win. 11-14-9 winners at Gallatin. And guys, this one was pretty ugly as far as the penalties were concerned.
Yeah, there were. I think there were 21 penalties for near 200 yards against both teams. And you talk about ugly. There were turnovers. I think Lebanon got 4 turnovers in the game. I think Gallatin fumbled 6 times in this game. So just a difficult. And that's the thing. It doesn't matter if win ugly or win pretty for Lebanon. They came away with the victory.
Yep. Lebanon 7-2. They've got Warren County next week. Gallatin 4-5 on the road at Clarksville in that key region matchup for them. Oakland had no problem. Liberty Creek 69-0 over the Wolves. The Patriots 8-1 as they'll get Rockville in week number 11. They've got the region already sewn up, so nothing really to play for there for the Patriots. Liberty Creek 2-6. They're on the road at Chattanooga Central to conclude their first season of varsity play. Lipscomb Academy had some trouble with CPA early on, but the Mustangs turned it on in the second half. They win 43-21, and the Mustangs do lock up the region title with the win, 9-0 now. They've got BGA on the road next week, CPA 4-5. They got Davidson Academy playing for third place in that region. Smith County beats Macon County 28-20. Let's go ahead and pull those highlights up too, as they have just finished loading for us.
This is a 2-yard run for Bryce Curry that got the Owls opened up 7-0 for the Owls. Macon County answers Gabe Borders on the touchdown, 7-7 midway through the first quarter. It's a little help from his friends there, but in for the end zone, we had a tie game. Now, this is a long pass to Riley Lawler set up this Peyton Hicks 1-yard run. The Owls jump right in front, 14-7, but it doesn't take long because you're going to see here that Gabe Borders is going to return serve with a 67-yard kickoff return that's going to not tie the game because the extra point was missed. But you can see Gabe Borders once again taking off with another one of his special teams scores. And like I said, 3:43 left in the first quarter now, and it's 14-3 here. You have Hicks gets his second. 6:19 left in the half. It's 21-13, and again Hicks in from a couple of yards out. Hicks had 3 touchdowns on the night. It's 28-13. Big moment here, Macon County Drive, and I'm sorry, it's before half. And this is less than a minute and a half. This was ruled an interception and a fumble, and it stopped a Macon County Drive late in the first half. Smith County would drive the field and throw an interception to end the half, basically. Macon County gets on the board here. They get a onside kick, drive down, and you see Gabe Borders with the Wildcat for 18 yards. And the Owls hang on.
How big is this win for your program?
It's pretty big headed into next week. It's very, very big headed into next week.
What did that's a really good defense over there. Going into this week, knowing that you guys were going to have to face that defense, how did you guys prepare?
Stop number 7. That's it. I mean, we shut him down. We won a game.
Yeah.
I mean, he still had 3 touchdowns, but I mean, we won a game.
Well, and one of them was, we knew special teams. You knew special teams was going to be an issue. I mean, was that a point of emphasis for?
Oh yes, sir. Yes, sir. We practiced that extra this week. We did before practice. That's what we did.
Well, tell me about this team. what this wins like this mean to your team?
This is a big morale win. This helps everybody boost our confidence. We beat a big 4A team. They're ranked high in 4A. I mean, it boosts everybody's confidence.
Your offensive line did a number early on there. I mean, you scored 28 points in the first half.
Yes, sir.
Talk about those guys and what they do for your team.
I love my big teddy bears. They block for me all the time. They're good, very good. That's why I had 3 touchdowns tonight.
Big teddy bears.
Big teddy bears. That's what they call them.
Okay. And how about your defense? I mean, they came up with big turnovers when it mattered.
Yeah, Macon County's been scoring all year, high points. I mean, we held them to 3 touchdowns. I mean, usually you held us to 3 touchdowns, you win the ball game.
Well, Peyton, enjoy the win. You got a big game against East Nashville. How amped are you for that game?
I'm so amped for that game. I'm ready. I've been waiting. I need my revenge from last year. I didn't like that too bad.
You think you guys got it to win the region?
I think so. In my opinion, we do.
Okay. Well, we won't give them any more. We won't give them any more bulletin board material, but we'll leave it at that. Hey, enjoy the win. Good luck on the rest of the season. I'm sure we'll be seeing you down the line.
Thank you.
I'm here with Jameson Keeley. Jameson, a big night tonight for your team. What was it like this week preparing for Macon County and for Gabe Borders?
It was kind of hard. Our defensive coordinator wasn't there. His mother died. All prayers to him. But Coach Dyer, Coach Hackett, they all pushed us on defense. We practiced pretty hard all week. We prepared for him like a wide receiver, running back, quarterback, everything pretty much.
What did you guys have to do defensively you guys got to the quarterback quite often and sacked him a number of times.
That's just our defense. Where everybody doubts us, but me, Riley Lawler, Tom Martin, Javi Gaspar, we're pretty good.
Yeah. So, you got East Nashville coming up. I mean, what can you take from this victory and apply it? Because you got a region game coming up, and I know I'm hitting you with this when you should be enjoying this one, but I got to ask that question.
We just carry the momentum over. Hopefully, bring a region chip home. Something that hasn't been done here in a long time, and that's just enough motivation said right there.
What does Coach Matt Dyer mean to this team?
Everything. He prepares us, cares for us, makes sure we're okay. He texts us on his phone. He's the best coach we've had here in a long time.
Well, congratulations on the win. Good luck going forward, and thank you very much for taking time with us.
Thank you.
Coach, what does this win mean to you and mean to the team?
Well, it's huge for this team. It's huge for this program. That's a dadgum good, 4A football team ranked in the top 10 in 4A. And, the Borders kid, number 7, he's just a heck of an athlete. If he's not a Mr. Finalist for, 4A Mr. Football, then something's wrong with the system. But this has been us the last 2 years. The polls pick against us. All the experts pick against us. Everybody wants to, say we're going to lose and say we're lose, but we just keep proving people wrong. And that's just a testament to these guys, these kids. They're fighters. They fight every single week. And, we give a lot of guys a lot of chances. Even tonight, we gave them every chance in the world to get back in this game. We gave up the big special teams plays, and once again, we had bad penalties, and, we'll address that come Sunday when we meet for team. But, I'm just proud of this team of proving all the naysayers wrong, proving all the dadgum, experts out there that, want to compare us to this, compare us to that, and just say, we can't win this, can't win that. But, I'm just super proud of these guys. I'm proud of these coaches. And, they fought their tail off tonight, and it's just huge for these guys.
And you talked about your defense. And time and time again, your defensive backs came up with big-time plays. Talk about your defensive backs and the plays that they made, the interceptions they made to keep that team out of the end zone.
They did. Our DBs, our secondary, they did a heck of a job. They made big plays when they needed to. But however, we still gave up big plays. But one of the big thing is, when we got guys in space, we gang tackle, we got black hats to the ball. And like you said, we did cause those turnovers. We got extra possessions for our offense. We just got to keep cleaning stuff up and just keep getting better each week. But, yes, our defense, we put them in some bad spots with either turnovers here or penalties there. But, they answer the bell every single possession.
What does it mean to have a player like Keeley Jameson Keeley up front. I mean, time and time again, he got pressure on the quarterback, and your entire defensive line made plays.
They did, and the thing with Jameson, we call him Bubba. It's amazing to me that nobody's looking at him. He's just a force to be reckoned with. There's no college that is even like giving him a little bit of love. Some are, but that's just I don't understand that, because for the last 2 years that guy's been unblockable. He's just a monster up front. He changes games. He's just a great kid too, great football player, and we're just glad to have him.
How big? Let's look at your offense for a second. How big was that play Caden Powell made when you were trapped on the goal line? I mean, you were 1 inch away from the goal line. He gets that big first down.
Oh, it was definitely huge, because we're looking at having to punt right there out of our own end zone. And they're a great team at bringing pressure, blocking punts. So we were sitting there having to talk about, hey, if we we might have to even think about, sitting there going punt black, or something like that. But, Caden, he's a playmaker, and that's what he did. To move the chains to get a first down right there, that was a huge momentum swing in the game that allowed us to continue that drive.
Well, anybody that makes a mistake of thinking that Smith County is 3 yards in a cloud of dust, haven't seen your highlights or haven't seen your film, because he absolutely can throw the ball on the rope.
Oh, definitely. People want to say we're a bunch of slugs and can't move, but we're averaging over 30 points a game, nearly 400 yards of offense. I don't know where this stigma's come that we're just a bunch of sloths and slugs out here. Yeah, we got big old cats, but we got dudes that can move, and we got good athletes too. And people need to start finding out about that.
Well, Coach, congratulations! You got a big game coming up against the East Nashville for the region. What can you take from this game forward?
Well, the biggest thing was, for the last month, we've not had a real meaningful game. I mean, yeah, it's great to play games where you score 50 and you score 40 and, you get a running clock. But, we had 3 Mercy Rule games and we had the bye week. So, it was huge going into the East Nashville week to have this great team, Macon County, coming here with a great athlete in Gabe Borders, just so that we could be tested for next week, because Gabe Borders, he might be the fastest kid, in this classification and everything. But, it was a great test for our guys to see that after about a month of, not very meaningful football. And I'm just proud of our guys stepping up to the plate the way they did.
Well, Coach, congratulations. Enjoy the win and good luck next week.
I appreciate it, Scott. Thank you.
2 things really stand out from that interview. A, Matt Dyer interviews do not disappoint. And B, exactly what he said at the very end of it, guys. This is a good time to play Macon County right before East Nashville, because he said that they haven't played meaningful games for a couple of weeks, and this was a meaningful game for them.
Yeah, you can see, Matt Dyer is a passionate coach, and the team just feeds off of that and feeds off of his energy. Time and time again, they would make big plays, and with their back against the wall, and it would energize their offense or their defense. And he's right. You can't count, and I'm going to say guilty as charged on picking picking against him on some of these games. But you ignore this team at your own peril, because they aren't just 3 yards in a cloud of dust. They will beat you up, but they can also beat you with speed too.
Yeah, my 2 takeaways really is the intensity from Coach Dyer, and you can see that his kids take after that as well. Come out, they actually started this game really, really strong. Was up 28-13. I'm on the same boat as you are, Scott. I picked Macon County in this one as well. Smith County, I picked against Smith County twice this year, and they've proved me wrong both times. And the last thing I want to add, when you watch highlights, you can't get a lot off of highlights, but is there any syrup for all those pancakes is all I want to know.
Well, it's breakfast time.
Very well said.
Yeah, it was. It was a great game, and let me say, Gabe Borders as advertised. You can see how he's racked up the yards. He is elusive. I mean, he's got speed, but the thing is, he's shifty. He can make you miss, and then has that quick twitch. He can jump cut and then gone.
Anybody worry considering this kid from Mr. Football He is only a sophomore, guys. He's going to get better, believe it or not.
Yeah. Count me in too in that group. I pick Macon County in this game as well. Definitely going to have some things to think about next week when we put our picks out for those games when they play East Nashville. That's going to be a big one over there in Carthage. We've got to pay some bills. Let's hear from Fifth Gear Technology Solutions right now.
In today's business world, it can be expensive to maintain a staff of experienced and knowledgeable IT personnel, especially for a small or medium-sized business. You don't have the time to monitor your own systems or stay up on the latest cybersecurity or technological solutions while trying to service your customers. That's why you should contact Fifth Gear Technology Concepts. Fifth Gear is an award-winning managed service provider that can manage your business needs with local and responsive IT support services. Fifth Gear specializes in fully managed or co-managed IT support, cybersecurity, cloud solutions, and superior customer care that can fit your budget. Call today and learn more at 615-606-3121 or visit us at fifthgearconcepts.com. Fifth Gear Technology Concepts, the latest insights and information in the world of IT.
Let's keep going with these scores. Mount Juliet 53-24 winners over Hillsboro. The Golden Bears set up that region title fight with Green Hill next week. With that win, Hillsboro's playoff chances are now over with that loss. They get Wilson Central next week. Nashville Christian 43-12 winners at Mount Juliet Christian. The Eagles improved to 7-2 in the season. They'll host ECA next week. Mount Juliet Christian travels to Clarksville Academy with a 1-8 mark. Nolensville 30-20 winners at Franklin. The Knights still unbeaten at 9-0, and they'll travel to Franklin County next week. While the Admirals still looking for win number 1, they'll go to Summit for their regular season finale. Kenwood wins 25-19 over Northwest, and the Knights now 3-6. It sets them up for a chance to win a playoff spot next week if they can beat Northeast. Northwest falls to 3-6 overall, 1-3 in region play. Overton 46-0 winners at Antioch. The Bobcats now get that game with Smyrna for the number 2 seed in their region as they improve to 6-3. Antioch falls to 0-9. They'll have Dixon County next week. Springfield, Sans Devon, Crenshaw. No problems with Portland. 40-0 as the Yellow Jackets roll all over the Panthers to improve to 7-2, dropping Portland to 5-4 on the year. Both teams now 3-1 in region play. The Panthers have Henry County next week. Springfield travels to Northwest. Pope Prep holds off Ravenwood 38-36. The Knights and go at 7-2, and are still doing it without quarterback Kenny Minchie. Chet Lack's another big night for them. Also, Josh Mainlander had a big night for the Knights as well. And Ravenwood falling to 5-4. They traveled to Independence in that 7-6A mess that we'll look at more in depth here in just a few minutes. Gordonsville 49-14 winners over at Bowling Springs. They set up their region title game at Clay County next week with a win as the Tigers improved to 7-2. Red Bowling Springs now 3-6. They have a non-region contest next week against Sunbright. Riverdale beats East Nashville and puts them in the losers bracket for the first time. 30-12, the Warriors win. Let's check out some highlights from this one real quick. That over at East Nashville, the Warriors coming in with some momentum. E.J. Taylor puts the Warriors on the board first. They take advantage of a fumble by East Nashville on the first series at 7-0 Riverdale. Zach Beard puts the Eagles on the board in the second quarter, getting in from a yard out on the quarterback sneak. Missed the end points with 7-6 Riverdale. Warriors added a field goal right before halftime to lead 10-6. Then Braden Graham finds Ryan Edmiston with a touch pass, and he gets into the end zone 17-6 Riverdale as the Warriors started to pull away in the second half. Graham and Edmiston again, this time a bit of a tip drill as Edmiston right place, right time. 24-6, East Nashville added a long touchdown, but Riverdale wins at 30-12.
Brayden, you knew this was a really good defense you guys were going against. How were you guys able to make it through this game and get a win like you did?
Yeah, coming out, obviously 8-0 team, played some good opponents, and they just looked good on film, very fast and physical. So we knew what we was getting into. We came out a little slow. We got a good touchdown coming out the drive, the first drive of the game, but it was kind of slow after that. But we really picked it up in the second half, put in some really good drives, was able to execute the passing game very well.
Now, the way you guys have played the last couple of weeks to get yourselves back in the playoff race, how good has this team been playing the last 2-3 weeks?
Yeah, it's been an interesting road. Obviously, beginning of the year, some unexpected losses. It was unfortunate, but we bounced back.
And we knew that we had to win some games in order to have a chance in those playoffs. So we played well. Obviously last week against Oakland, just didn't execute at a high level at all. They played really well, coached very well, and have a good team around them. But we had to come out tonight and execute well. So that's what we did in the second half, and we needed this win to help us get a better chance in those playoffs, a better spot.
Offensively, you guys kind of got off to a slow start this year, but you seem to kind of find the rapport with your receivers.
Yeah.
How has the last couple of weeks been for that as far as getting guys in sync?
Yeah, it's a new group, new offense coordinator who does a great job, calls some phenomenal plays. I enjoy it here. I love it. And also a new group of receivers. We had 2 guys move in, 2 big-time receivers, and a tight end moved in and everything. So, unfortunately, we didn't, get hot, early on in the year. But it's okay. We're not going to look back on that. We're really starting to click. I'm starting to really find out which guys are, are dogs out there. So I'm enjoying it, and they're enjoying it as well. It's a good offense to be in.
Big challenge coming for you guys next week with Stewart's Creek, and you got to win it to get in it. So what's this week of practice got to be like for you guys to make sure that happens?
We just got to be locked in, dialed in the whole time. Can't have any, got to clean up the little errors and not have any issues outside of football. So, it's an important week. We'll go home and be happy tonight, but we'll get back and film on Sunday, and we'll get going, and practice will be locked in. So I'm excited to play them, though. They're a good team.
Good stuff, man. Congratulations on the win.
Thank you.
Yep, that's it. Riverdale knows what they got to do. They have to win at Stewart. They have to win against Stewart's Creek at home next week to reach the playoffs. East Nashville goes to Smith County after getting their first loss of the year. And East Nashville had some problems with penalties last night as well. A lot of false starts and pre-play stuff that set them back behind the chains quite a bit. Just wasn't a good night for the Eagles, but they'll try to put that behind them next week.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how they handle adversity. They haven't had to face that this year. Now, I think that they'll be ready for it, and then they should handle it well. But you never can tell coming off your first loss of the season, especially this late, what effects that's going to have on your team.
Scott, you're a wizard. You sit there and said exactly what I was thinking. No, it's going to be interesting to see how East Nashville handles their first loss, the mistakes. A lot of the times mistakes can carry over into the next week, but also the better teams oftentimes come back the next week more prepared, more intensity, more focus, and they're better. They're at their absolute best after a week like this. On the Riverdale side of things, there's a lot of history with that program, and those guys want to be in the playoffs for sure. So next week's game against Stewart's Creek is going to be a big one in Murfreesboro.
And Riverdale playing much better in the last month or so after that slow start of the year for them. So they're in a good shape to get in, but that game against Stewart's Creek is huge for both sides.
I was going to ask you, Chris, what did you think that where have they improved? We know their defense is good. What did you see out of their offense yesterday that you thought was indicative of a result like this?
I think it's been talking to Braden Graham. It was more about them getting more comfortable with each other on offense, because you can see it in the passing game. They're kind of finding their feet throwing the football, and when they've struggled this year, it's because they haven't been able to throw it effectively. Now they can do that, and they may be a problem for some teams in 6A if they can get in. Hendersonville's in. They win 35-14 over Rossview to lock up a playoff spot. They're now 4-5 of the year. They'll go to West Creek in week number 11. Rossview is out of the playoff picture now, and they will travel to Beach for their season finale in week number 11. Davidson Academy, 47-3 winners over Stratford in a non-region game. The Bears travel to CPA next week. Stratford will finish up with Jackson County in a game that will determine the number 4 seed in that region for the Spartans. West Creek 34-0 winners at Whites Creek. The Coyotes now 3-6 as they get Hendersonville next week. Whites Creek will host East Robertson in their season finale. White House in non-region wins 16-14 over Westmoreland. The Blue Devils, guaranteed a 500 regular season. If nothing else, they'll travel to White House Heritage to wrap up that regular season game in week number 11. Westmoreland gets Harpeth in their regular season finale next week. Stewart's Creek, we just talked about. They'll have Riverdale next week. 56-14 winners over Wilson Central. The Red Hawks now red hot, 5-4 as they head into week number 11. Wilson Central is in the postseason regardless, as their region shaked out the right way for them. They have Hillsboro on the road next week. Into these out-of-area scores with East Robertson Thursday night winners over Forest 35-14. Henry County put down Northeast 41-6. NBA stayed unbeaten, beating Baylor 42-34 on Friday. Waverly defeated Cheatham County 42-14. Clarksville Academy defeated Columbia Academy 35-28. Rockville fell to Coffee County 35-14. Eagleville a 35-6 winner over Collinwood. Blackman all over Cookeville 47-21. Friendship Christian still unbeaten 9-0 as they defeated Lakeway Christian 38-7. Harpeth 48-13 winners at Hickman County, improving to 6-3 for the Indians. Hunters Lane fell to Atwhy County 46-13. Hillwood closes out school history with a loss 49-14 to Lawrence County. They are off next week. They'll finish 2-8 as those students will transfer over to James Lawson High School in 2023. Watertown 38-14 winners over Livingston Academy. Marshall County over Montgomery Central 56-8. Republic falls to Chattanooga Christian 69-0. Summit, now their second win of the year, 48-0 over Shelbyville. Siegel 33-6 winners at Lincoln County. White House Heritage gets win number 1, 21-12 over Stewart County. Greenbrier 20-3 over Tullahoma. Middle Tennessee Christian 30-12 over Wayne County. And that is it for the scoreboard for week number 10. That's pretty much all the damage we can do there. But we're not done because we have quite a bit more to go over with these regions with the playoff picture, and we're going to go ahead and pull that up. As a matter of fact, what we do, let's take a quick break and hear from Innovate Medical first before we do that. Even though the scores are done, with a week left, we wanted to look at the playoff picture around the area, starting in 1A, with regions 3 and 4 right now. South Pittsburgh and Whitwell in region 3, they're locked in the top two seeds. And Joe Birds and Red Bowling Springs are locked into 3 and 4 in theirs. It just leaves those other two matchups to be determined, and they'll figure it out next week. Clay County, Gordonsville for the region title in region 4. Lookout Valley and Sale Creek for 3rd and 4th in region 3.
Yeah, huge game. I believe that game will be in the jungle next week. Clay County might, with their big win over York this week, they may be a tougher test for the Tigers than what a lot of people are thinking. That one's going to determine a lot, and who possibly gets South Pitt second, if that makes sense.
Yep. Regions 5 and 6, quickly, Eagleville sitting in 3rd right now. They could move up if they beat Fayetteville next week, but the top 3 seeds still to be determined there. In Region 6, it's McKenzie and Dresden, 1-2. Gleason and McEwen still have to settle out 3rd and 4th. Wayne County also 4th in Region 5. On to 2A. Tyner is a region champ, and so is East Robertson. The other seeds in this crossover still yet to be determined. Westmoreland wins over Harpeth, they get number 2. If Harpeth wins, it could get messy. Watertown also plays Trousdale County, who's still in mathematical playoff contention as well. The winner of that game is in, and the loser is out.
So it would be a 3-way if Harpeth was to beat Westmoreland. Harpeth would have overall record at that point at 6 and 4. So they would go to the 2 seed, and then the head-to-head between Westmoreland and Watertown. Westmoreland would be the 3, Watertown would be the 4.
In 3A, Region 3 is still yet to be determined, as is Region 4, as all 4 of those spots could still move before Week 11 is done. So a lot to shake out there. One thing to note, Cannon County is in at 2-1 in region play, 4 and 5 overall. Brainerd and Signal Mountain still in contention in Region 3. Grundy County still alive in Region 4 despite being winless. 5 and 6 breakdown like this. Maplewood is assured the number 3 seed in Region 5, 3A. White House and Sycamore locked into 3rd and 4th in Region 6. The top 2 seeds in both regions will be decided next week between Smith County and East Nashville and Fairview and Waverly, and Sycamore also locked into 4th in Region 6 as well.
2 great matchups there, Fairview and Waverly, and then the Smith County East Nashville game. Both of those are huge games, not just for playoff implications, because both of those, especially that Smith County East Nashville game, that's going to be that would be for I guess they would go on the road, wouldn't they, in the quarterfinal matchup with Region 6?
Yeah, they would. Region 6 winner would host in the quarterfinals, and Region 5 winner would be on the road. Region 3 and 4. Region 3 is locked up. The top 4 seeds all determined and locked in. Region 4, none of them are. And as we've mentioned, this has been messy for a while, and it still is. Stone Memorial, though, in the driver's seat. If they win over to Cab County next week, they've got the number 1 seed.
Yep. If Stone wins, it would finish exactly the way that you have it on the board. If DeKalb wins, it would be Upperman 1, Macon 2, DeKalb 3. Stone would drop all the way to 4. So you're looking at a win for Stone wins them a region title. A loss puts them probably in that 4 spot.
And that also is assuming an Upperman win over Livingston Academy too.
Yes,
right.
If Livingston Academy was to win that game, it would go. It would be Stone Memorial, Upperman, Macon County, DeKalb County. If Macon loses, but if Macon wins, then it's Macon, Stone Memorial, Upperman, DeKalb County. So that could shake out a few different ways, but they would need an Upperman loss, which is unlikely at this point.
Be monumental.
Right.
5 and 6 in 4A. Pearl-Cohn number 1 in Region 5. Lexington and Hardin County 1st and 2nd in Region 6. The rest of those spots still to be determined. Marshall County plays Greenbrier next week. So that number 2 seed still up for grabs there. Creekwood also has Lawrence County, and that is for a playoff spot for those 2 teams, with the loser probably dropping out. Quick look at 5A, Region 5. Those 4. Wilson Central could move up depending on what happens in the Green Hill Mount Juliet game. So those 4 spots are not finalized, but those 4 teams are in the postseason. Same thing in Region 6. The spots are not locked in, but those 4 teams are going to make it.
So, stay tuned.
So that Region 5, 5A, real quick. If Wilson Central wins next week and White County, they're done in the region, Wilson Central has that head-to-head, so they would go above White County at that point.
They would, yep.
And that's how they would move up. Green Hill loss, it would stay exactly the way it is right now, I believe.
Yeah, if Green Hill and Wilson Central win, then that's how it would move up like that. But if Mount Juliet wins, then Wilson Central stays put.
Right. Okay.
And how big would it be for White County to hold on to a home playoff game, and these schools have to travel out to Sparta?
Yeah, after basically hitting the reset button on their program a couple years back.
Right.
Yeah. Region 7 and 8, Henry County in 1st and 7 in Region 7, but not locked in yet. Springfield and Portland tied for 2nd. Portland plays Henry County, and Springfield has Northwest. So Northwest and Northeast, the bigger story here is the 4th seed, as Kenwood has got it now. But Northwest and Northeast could still get in there depending on what happens next week.
I believe you said Kenwood and Northwest play each other next week, right?
It's Kenwood and Northeast.
Okay.
Yeah, Northwest plays Springfield.
All right, so a win for the Knights puts them in.
Yep, and Northeast could get back in through the back door if they defeat Kenwood.
Right.
Moving to 6A, Coffee County 11 and 1-2 in Region 3. Cookeville and Shelbyville will play each other for 3rd and 4th. Region 4, it's about that 3rd and 4th seed. Stewart's Creek and Riverdale, as we've talked about, play next week. Rockvale gets Oakland, and the Rockets are going to try to hang on for the playoff lives. They need a Stewart's Creek win in order to do just that.
Yeah, they have to have that since they're facing Oakland next week. So it's they're going to have to barring just something monumental, historic almost. It really is going to come down to that Stewart's Creek Riverdale game.
Look at those pairings as they set up right now. Stewart's Creek 11 would be a rematch of the first round from last season, and Blackman and Cookeville just played last night. So rematches abound in those pairings if they stay the way they are.
Now, if Riverdale was to win that Stewart's Creek game, would that be Riverdale as the 3, Stewart's Creek as the 4?
It would depend. It would depend on. Riverdale would have the tiebreaker as far as overall wins. They'd be at 6.
And then Stewart's Creek has the head-to-head over Rockville. So
yep.
Then that would set up that what that would be is then that would be Riverdale versus Lebanon. That is possibly the best first-round game in our area.
A rematch of round 2 from last season, if that was to come to fruition. So definitely some some teams running it back possibly in the playoffs in the first couple of rounds. Regions 5 and 6 set up like this. It's Beach number 1. Clarksville or Gallatin play for second next week. Hendersonville's in, but probably going to finish third in that one. Cane Ridge number 1. It's Smyrna and Overton for number 2. McGavick will play Laverne for fourth. Fairly simple in those particular regions and how they're pairing up right now. Gallatin, Cane Ridge could be a first rounder if it stays the same. Smyrna, Hendersonville could be a first rounder if that stays the same.
Wow.
So
there's some heavy duty matchups in this.
Gallatin cannot finish second.
Yeah, they could because they would have the head over Clarksville.
Yep.
But if Hendersonville wins, that would be a three-way because Clarksville beat Hendersonville. Hendersonville beat Gallatin. Then it would go to overall record. Clarksville would beat.
But if Hendersonville loses, then they would finish second.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
They could finish second.
They would have to win and have Hendersonville lose.
Right.
Gotcha.
Now on to the messy part, Region 7.
Oh, now the messy part?
Yes.
Yeah. you have what? Is it 4 potential region champions here?
4 potential region champions. All 4 teams could finish anywhere from first to fourth, depending on who wins. If you're Centennial, you are hoping that Ravenwood beats Independence. If you're Brentwood, you're hoping that Indy wins. If you're Independence, those are your dance partners for week number 11. It's 2 teams basically. Whoever you beat in the regular season, you hope they win next week.
So let's break it down just a little bit, okay? So Centennial wins and Ravenwood wins. Centennial is the 1.
Yes.
Ravenwood would be the 2. Then it would be Brentwood and then Independence.
Yes.
Okay. If Centennial and Independence win, then it would be Independence 1, Centennial 2,
Ravenwood 3, Brentwood 4.
Yep. And then if the other option would be is if Brentwood wins and Independence wins, then Brentwood wins the region. Independence would be
second.
Then it would be Centennial, then Ravenwood 4.
Yep.
Man, if you're one of those Memphis teams, I feel sorry for you.
Now, here's the thing. They have their own mess to figure out because Bartlett and Houston are tied for first. Collierville and Germantown are tied for second, and they don't play each other. So there's some guessing games there, too, as to how they're going to finish out. We won't know anything until those games are done next Friday. Now into Division 2, where it's a little bit cleaner, I think. Friendship Christian, Middle Tennessee Christian play Thursday for first place in the East. That's a game we'll actually be there on Thursday night. Kings Academy is going to finish third. Lakeway Christian and Webb School play for fourth. So the winner of that one is in. The loser is out.
Yeah, the only thing that I see here it could change, I believe, is Nashville Christian DCA could swap. Is that right?
That they're playing for first. They're playing for first. Columbia Academy and Grace Christian are playing for fourth next week.
And of course, I guess Middle Tennessee Christian and Friendship could swap also.
Right. Yeah, the winner of that one's winning that region. Yep. So these are the standings as the TSSAA website has it now. So nothing's different from those. USJ number 1 in the West. Tipton Rosemark is number 5. The other 3 seeds will work themselves out next week. Looking at AA in the East, we know Silverdale's the number 3 seed. Knoxville Webb and Chattanooga Christian play for first. Boyd Buchanan and Knoxville Grace play for the 4th and 5 slots, respectively. Davidson Academy and CPA battle for 3rd and 4th in the middle region. Good Pasture is the number 5. Lipscomb Academy and FRA are your number 2s or top 2 seeds there in the middle region. In the West, Los Angeles, St. George's, North Point Christian, and ECS all still in contention. They've got to play each other next week, and that one will work itself out as well.
Man, you're talking about a fun matchup, and I guess that would be the second round. No, let's see. Yeah, that would be a second round matchup between Chattanooga Christian and FRA. You're talking about Boo Carter versus Ty Clark. I mean, that's as good as it gets as far as running backs go.
Yeah, and remember the beating the Boyd Buchanan put on Davidson Academy back in week number 2. Yeah, they'd have to run that back in round 1 if he stayed the same.
I'm just wondering how many Knoxville Grace fans there are in the mid-state right now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we'll see. AAA, the East is mostly settled. Pope Prep and McCauley will play for 3rd and 4th next week. NBA and Baylor 1 and 2. Knoxville Catholic and Father Ryan 5 and 6. The West will shake itself out as Brentwood Academy right now is in first place. So another win next week will get them the region title. Ensworth MUS playing for second and third. Christian Brothers and Briarcrest Christian fourth and fifth. St. Benedict currently sixth, could move up if they beat Christian Brothers next week.
Yeah, not knocking anybody on this left side of this bracket, but man, what a huge win for NBA last night to lock up that side of the bracket. You have Baylor, McCallie, Brentwood Academy all on the same side.
Yeah.
So you only have to play one of those three where they have to play each other. Huge win last night for the Big Red.
Yeah, and it could be a Pope Prep and Ensworth second round game possibly too, which would be pretty interesting from that perspective.
Oh my gosh, it'd be a shootout, which probably means it'll be a 7-0 game.
Right. Like we figured this week with BA and Ensworth, we've had there be some points up and 10-7 with your result. So, all right, that is all the damage we can do for a loaded scoreboard show this week. Thank you all so much for tuning in and staying with us through the delays, and a lot to go through going into week number 11. And we'll talk more about on the Mid-State 48. We do have some decisions to make as far as spotlight game for week 11, but those will come later today as we got some discussions to figure out between the three of us.
Arm twisting.
It's going to be a tough afternoon.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So for Cam, for Scott, I'm Chris. Thank you all for watching the 615 Prep Scoreboard presented by Fifth Gear Technology Concepts. We will talk to you on the Mid-State 48 this week. And next week's scoreboard show, we will go through the brackets bit by bit as well. So it'll be a bigger show there as well. Thank you all for watching. We'll see you then.